King Mwanga II, ruling Buganda from 1884 to 1897, grew hostile towards Christianity. He demanded loyalty, including sexual favors from his pages and servants.
These new converts refused to practice what they call homosexuality. The king was practicing homosexuality. And these new converts were telling the king, no, we Christians, we don't practice homosexuality.
The issues of homosexuality have been raising confusion within Uganda and other African countries. Some proponents of homosexuality have attempted to normalize this illicit act as something that was practiced long ago in Uganda. Some went ahead to give examples of what was taking place within the Buganda courts, leading to the killing of the new converts that would be martyrs of Uganda. Despite scientific facts that attest to the fact that no one is born homosexual, an international network of NGOs partnered with the US government has been promoting homosexuality internationally and across Africa. Uganda has been threatened with the removal of financial aid from the US government if it does not change its laws and promote homosexuality. Like the king of Buganda, this is a powerful ruler who has tried to compel Ugandans to accept homosexual practices with threats. Some appeal to his example to show that homosexuality was a part of Ugandan traditional culture. Just like King Mwanga, this network is now history. The example of the Uganda martyrs can inspire Ugandans and Africans to refuse these sinful ways and to renew their national life in the footsteps of Christ. In the 19th century, a group of brave men defied King Mwanga II's demands, refusing his ungodly advances and standing firm in defense of their Christian faith. Their courage would spark a movement, inspiring generations, and forever change the African Christian approach to faith, which unveiled the courageous legacy of Uganda's martyrs, the true heroes of faith in Uganda. The Uganda martyrs were among the many Ugandans who converted to Christianity when European Catholic missionaries, led by Father Simeon Laudel and Brother Amans, introduced Christianity to Uganda in the 1870s. They were killed between November 1885 to January 1887 on orders of King Mwanga II for their refusal to renounce their faith. According to Dinkum Sali, the king's ruthless decision was not only political but also personal. He demanded absolute submission, including sexual compliance.
We know very well that the court had been infested by homosexuality, as we learn from the likes of F.J. Faupel. And the king himself had sort of caught this particular vice, homosexuality, for this matter. And he was making these advances towards young boys. So what surprised me in their life is that even then, still at that young age, with the little knowledge they had received of the faith, they were really resolved not to give in to this. Personally, I think it is due to our nature here, our culture here in Africa, in Uganda, which is against such issues. But even worldwide, as humanity, these things are deplorable. They are looked upon in not a very good way, and rightly so, because they are against nature. So the life of these martyrs, the Uganda martyrs, really inspires me in that regard, in that while they were still neophytes, new people to this faith, they were ready to die rather than soil their chastity, rather than give in to the advances of the king.
When the king's advances were refused, he got angry and ordered executions.
For those of you who do not know what it means to go against the king of Buganda here, it was equivalent to death, even in the slightest requests, things that would be very small, like go and fetch me a cup of tea. But if it was to this extent and they were willing not to give in, I think they teach us a very grave lesson. That if we are willing not to give in, we are ready to die rather than soil their chastity, rather than give in to the advances of the king. When the king's advances were refused, he got angry and ordered executions.
The
about courage in our faith. And I think it is something we should look up to, especially in this particular time when these vices are cropping up and are being shoved into our very throats.
Charles Ranga, Matthias Mulumba, and others were martyred for their faith and moral integrity.
Indeed, most of the Uganda martyrs that were killed were young people. A few were elderly, who were guiding the young ones. But the young ones were committed, and under the advances of even their elders to encourage them to indulge in immoral behaviors, these young people stood their ground. Only after 3 years of evangelization and catechism, we are so committed, strongly committed to denounce the devil and the advances of their superiors and masters, and they stuck to Jesus Christ. Yes, indeed, the young people of today should emulate these matters. We have got our temptations as well. I don't think we have suffered up to the shedding of blood as the martyrs did. It is up to us to resist such temptations. I encourage the young people to do the same, and I'm sure and confident that they have got the muscle, they have got they can, if they so wish, resist such temptations. And we shall pray. And as elders, we need to live by example, help them to go through this struggle and endure and be with Jesus Christ all their lives.
The martyr's refusal was not just about resisting the king's desires, but upholding Christian values and moral Christian principles.
In life, there is always a need to say no to some things. That's the only way someone can defend his Christian values and to defend his personality. When we don't learn to say no, it's so much hard to stand for any value in life and in society. So when we, as Christians, as Catholics, we must learn from these matters, saying no to social evil and to stand for the truth always. Because Jesus has told us that the truth sets many free. So at their time, there were a lot of social evils like those sexual abuses. We may talk of today, the homosexuality, the contraception, abortion, and so on. The church teaches us, and we emulate these matters by saying no. Like, it's very hard for a Christian to give in to persecution and to hardship. Of course, when you say no, the rest of the society will judge you. But when you stand for your values and for the truth, things move on. Pope John Paul II brought to us an encyclical, Salvifici Doloris. That in that encyclical, the Pope exhorts the entire church to give in to human suffering. He tells us that suffering is real, but we learn from Jesus himself who gave in to suffering, and through that suffering he saved us. So a Christian who learns from the martyrs should learn to say no to social evil. Then in that saying no, he will have become a true witness to the truth, and that truth one day will set him free.
So now those boys who refused to press homosexuality, they angered the king. Now the king became angry because we are not supposed to reject anything from the king. If a king asks you something, you are supposed to oblige. So now these boys were saying, we Christians, no. We can't do that. We cannot practice homosexuality. So the boy, especially Joseph Mukasabali Kudembe, was telling the new converts, now, if a king tells you to go in such and such a place at such and such a time, don't go. So Joseph Mukasabali Kudembe fought so much to prevent the converts to practice homosexuality with the king.
How they make it, how they love God to the extent that they had to give in their lives. Their impact is life. And when we see the current problems that we have, they face them. Then we have issues of immoralities, especially homosexuality. And we find that one of the reasons we hear that these people were also forced into those acts. But they had to stand. They had to confess, and they had to say, no, we are here because of God. the love of God. We are here because we are saved. And indeed, whenever I remember about what they went through, I get more energized. I become more energized on what to do. Actually, to love God the more and to spread this evangelization of the Uganda Matters to my fellow youths.
Today, the Uganda Martyrs are revered as saints. Their courage inspires millions worldwide.
Uganda is known because of the Uganda Martyrs, but spiritually and morally also they have been a source of renewal, not only for the believers, but I think for all the Ugandans. It's not only the Catholics or the Christians who profit from the martyrdom of these martyrs, both the Protestant and the Catholics, but the whole of Uganda. Because when Christians get renewed, inspired and challenged by the lives of the Ugandan martyrs, and they behave in a Christian way, then the country is also going to profit from that. So they are really a source of renewal, not only for believers, Christians, but for the whole country, especially these days when we see that morally and spiritually there is a crisis.
These young men stood firm, that even at the command of the king, they were able to stand firm by the Catholic faith, and that's one of the reasons why they shed their blood. Some were dismembered, their arms cut off, limbs cut off, and then they were thrown to the dogs, so the dogs to bite them, to lick their wounds. But with all that pain, they were not ready to give up their faith, to give up with the Catholic doctrine. So it's a message for the youth that we need to stand firm in these challenging times, whereby there are many voices against the Catholic teaching, against God's way of doing things, whereby there is promotion of lesbianism, LGBT, transgender, and all that. So we need to stand firm. We are now the martyrs, the current martyrs, that we need to live a life of witness. We witness to the gospel amidst all the challenges, amidst all the negative forces against life and against a continuity of the human life.
The Uganda Martyrs' story is a testament to the power of faith, courage, and conviction. Their legacy continues to inspire, challenging us to stand firm in our beliefs and trust no matter the cost.